The Cannibal Forums, a chilling descent into the dark web. Somewhere on the dark web lies a tale too horrific to believe. As Armin Meiwes and Bernd Brandes connect on a dark web forum, their chilling pact beings to take shape, it ultimately unravels in a highly publicized trial, sparking global discussions on morality and the influence of the dark web. In the shadows of the internet's underbelly, communities exist that defy comprehension. One such corner was home to the disturbing story of Armin Meiwes, the Rotenburg Cannibal. A quiet German village surrounded by lush fields. A modest, isolated house stands against the horizon, carrying an eerie silence. Here, the chilling story of Armin Meiwes begins as he ventures into the dark web to connect with a stranger who will forever alter his life and his legacy. Armin Meiwes appeared to lead a quiet life in Rotenburg, Germany. By day, he was a respected IT technician, but by night, he delved into the depths of his darkest desires, hidden behind the anonymity of his computer screen. In a dimly lit room, Armin typed methodically on his old computer. On the screen, bold letters spelled out, Cannibal Café. This forum became his portal to a world that nurtured his unspeakable fantasies. During the late 1990s, Armin stumbled upon this notorious online forum. It was a meeting ground for those who shared a grotesque fascination, cannibalism. Here, fantasies were discussed openly, and the boundaries between talk and reality blurred dangerously. A chilling thread emerged with Armin's username Frankie, boldly stating, looking for a willing volunteer to be slaughtered and consumed. Shockingly, his macabre proposition did not go unanswered. In Berlin, a middle-aged engineer named Bernd Brandes came across Armin's post. With a mix of curiosity and determination, he typed his response under the username Burned. Their ensuing conversation would change both of their lives forever. As their conversations deepened, both men revealed their dark desires. They navigated the unsettling complexities of their agreement, each expressing a grim determination. This was not a game. They were both committed to seeing it through. Bernd Brandes, a 43-year-old engineer with an unassuming demeanor, wasn't just intrigued. He was disturbingly eager to become a part of this horrific pact. A desolate train station on a cold March evening. Armin stood nervously, glancing at the clock as he waited for Bernd to arrive. The gravity of their agreement hung heavy in the air. On March 9, 2001, Bernd arrived at Armin's home in Rotenburg. He was fully aware of the nightmare that awaited him, yet he showed no hesitation. The two men sat together in Armin's modest dining room, their faces illuminated by flickering candlelight. They shared wine, exchanged stories, and finalized the details of their grim agreement. A contract lay on the table, written in stark, clinical language. Both men signed it, solidifying a pact that blurred the line between murder and consent. Bernd reclined on a neatly made bed, calm yet unnervingly prepared for what was to come. The atmosphere was thick with a mixture of dread and morbid anticipation. Armin stood nearby, sharpening a gleaming knife. His expression shifted between cold resolve and a flicker of unease. Together, they shared a surreal final meal. They discussed every detail, reaffirming their agreement in chilling clarity. The screen fades to black as faint, muffled screams echo in the background. The horrific act had begun. A VHS camera captured every gruesome moment, documenting the unthinkable. Armin later watched the footage, his face emotionless, as if trying to understand his own actions. Armin sat alone in his dimly lit home, a plate of food before him. The VHS tape sat ominously on the table, an inescapable reminder of what he had done. For months, Armin lived with the aftermath of his actions. He consumed parts of Bernd, storing the remainder in his freezer for future use. An anonymous tip eventually reached the authorities. The quiet life of Armin Meiwes unraveled as investigators began to piece together the horrifying truth. Police raided Armin's home, discovering frozen human remains. The evidence was undeniable, and Armin was taken into custody. In an interrogation room, detectives played the VHS footage. It was a chilling testament to a crime unlike any they had ever encountered. Armin confessed calmly, as though relaying a mundane story. It was consensual, he insisted, a defense that would ignite worldwide debate. In court, Armin's demeanor remained stoic as the charges were read. The evidence against him painted a chilling and moral decay. Flashbacks of Armin's lonely childhood emerged during the trial. His isolation and unfulfilled desires seemed to be the seeds of his eventual descent. The jury listened in horror as the VHS footage was described in graphic detail. Public fascination with the case grew, fueled by its shocking nature. The court grappled with a difficult question. Was this murder or a grim form of assisted suicide? Ultimately, the judge delivered a life sentence declaring, "Consent does not absolve such a heinous act." Armin was led away in handcuffs, his face betraying no emotion. The world watched as the Rotenburg Cannibal became a symbol of the dark web's haunting potential. Despite the Cannibal Café forum shutting down, whispers of similar forums emerged in the shadowy corners of the dark web. The disturbing legacy of Armin Meiwes lingered, inspiring imitation and curiosity. In an online chat room, users debated the morality of Armin's actions. Were his deeds the ultimate breach of humanity, or a reflection of the internet's darkest temptations? A forensic psychologist spoke on national television. This wasn't just about cannibalism, it was about control, loneliness, and the internet amplifying forbidden desires. Flashbacks showed Armin as a child, sitting alone at a dinner table. His eyes hinted at a longing for connection that would later manifest in unspeakable ways. Experts weighed in on how the internet fosters communities for those with dangerous urges. Without these forums, would people like Armin act on their fantasies or remain isolated? Armin's name became synonymous with horror and moral ambiguity. The debate over his case continued to ripple through media and academia alike. In a sterile prison cell, Armin sat quietly staring at the wall. His mind replayed the events that had forever altered his fate. Reports surfaced of copycat crimes, inspired by the tale of the Rotenburg Cannibal. The internet proved to be a breeding ground for those eager to replicate the unthinkable. Ultimately, the court ruled that consent didn't matter. Armin Meiwes was sentenced to life imprisonment. The screen faded to black as a single question appeared. Are monsters born or are they made? Documentary filmmakers revisited the case, shedding light on Armin's psychological profile. He wasn't just a criminal, one said. He was the product of loneliness, isolation, and a digital age that connected the unthinkable. Experts warned that while the Cannibal Café was gone, the dark web remained. These forums are hydras, an investigator remarked. Shut one down and two more appear. A flickering screen showed users sharing cryptic messages. The anonymity of the internet ensured that Armin's legacy would never fully disappear. In prison, Armin granted a rare interview. "I regret what happened," he said, his voice calm, "but I understand why I did it." Flashbacks depicted Armin meticulously preparing for the act, from the knife sharpening to the chilling final meal. These moments highlighted the disturbing extent of his planning. Modern forums buzzed with discussions about the case. "Did something like this happen again?" one user asked. The chilling answer seemed inevitable. A forensic analyst described the psychological profile of those who seek such forums. "They're not monsters by birth," she said. "They're people whose darkest desires find validation online." A silhouette sat at a computer, the screen's glow reflecting in their eyes. The line between curiosity and action blurred as they read Armin's story. The Cannibal Café's final message lingered on the screen. "This site is permanently closed." A new forum sprang to life, its user base growing rapidly. The internet's ability to perpetuate the macabre remained an unsettling truth. The chilling message echoed across the screen once more. Are monsters born, or are they made? The story of Armin Meiwes continues to haunt the digital age, serving as both a warning and a grim fascination. How many more secrets does the dark web hide, waiting to emerge? The screen darkens, leaving the viewer with only their reflection in the void. In the shadows of the internet, the line between reality and nightmare remains disturbingly thin. Do you think evil is born or created? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Fearful Files.